afternoon, good evening, or perhaps good morning, depending on the country you are joining from, because we know so many country participant is here. That's why glad to thanks to everyone with us today. I am Ghazi Abu Huraira, moderator of this research webinar for today. First of all, I would like to welcome and thank you all for joining our today's webinar on the Strategizing Research Output 2023. This event is being organized by Bangladeshi Students Union Malaysia (BSUM) in collaboration with Doctorate Support Group (DSG) and Education and Research Desk. Before we move on this webinar or program, I would like to remind all the audience that an attendance from link will be shared in the chat box during the question and answer. This certificate of participation will be given based on the marked attendance from. So please fill up the form correctly. I think everyone fill up this form before this organized program. And if you are not fill up, you will knock me in our question and answer session or in chat box. Now I am sure everyone is excited for the today's research talk. Our honorable keynote speaker for today's webinar is Professor Dr. Alyani Ismail. Allow me to introduce our keynote speaker. Prof. Dr. Alyani Ismail is the award-winning researcher and great organizer who is the recipient Excellent in Service Award as the Deputy Director, University Putra, Malaysia. Best Final Year Project winner of UPM Faculty of Engineering, Silver Model winner of National University's E-Learning Carnival 2014 for share, use and reuse with Putra content repository Putra Core. Another silver medal winner of National University E-Learning Carnival 2015 for Integrated Support System ISUS. Professor Dr. Alyani Ismail is the professor of the Department of Computer and Communication System Engineering, Faculty of Engineering, University Putra, Malaysia. Chairperson, Malaysia Council of E-Learning Coordinator of Public Universities, 2016 to 2018. Executive Committee member of IEE Chapter Malaysia Chapter 2012 to 2013. Executive Committee IEE Gold Affinity Group 2009 to 2010. Member Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers IEE. Member International Association of Engineering. Graduate member Board of Engineers Malaysia. Professor Dr. Alyani Ismail was the Deputy Director, Teaching and Learning Innovation Center for Academic Development, UPM 2012 to 2018. Head of the Department of Computer and Communication System Engineering, Faculty of Engineering 2010 to 2012. Head of the Wireless Device and Propagation Laboratory Center of Excellence for Wireless and Photonic Networks, Faculty of Engineering, UPM 2009 to 2011. Not only this, but also have extra point coordinator for Francis program of Diploma in Multimedia Technology Engineering, Faculty of Engineering, UPM 2007 to 2010. Head of the Wireless Communication Engineering Laboratory, Department of Computer and Communication System Engineering, Faculty of Engineering, UPM 2007 to 2010. Postgraduate Coordinator, Department of Computer and Communication System Engineering, UPM 2007 to 9. Academic Coordinator, Communication Engineering, Department of Computer and Communication System Engineering, Faculty of Engineering, UPM 2007 to 12. Another Head of the Electronic Communication Engineering Laboratory of UPM 2006 to 2007. Before we proceed with this webinar, let me remind our audience that we will take a group photo by the end of this webinar. So please prepare yourself and open your camera after this discussion. I also would like to remind the participant may write their questions in the chat box. So I think I will enjoying this program. So please welcome to our today's keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Alyani Ismail. The stage is yours for the next 60 minutes.
all over the world. So thank you for being here today. And I would like to thank the organizer, the president of Bangladeshi Students Union Malaysia, Mr. Zahrul, for inviting me. And I believe the other organizers in collaboration with Education and Research Desk doctoral support group. So thank you very much for being here. I'm going to share my screen. I'm so happy to be here. And I believe many of you are conducting research, whether it's masters or PhD, I believe. And perhaps I can see quite a number of you are academicians, lecturers. So thank you for coming to this seminar. I'm happy to see various backgrounds. So I hope my sharing today, there are actually other people who are very, very excellent. And what you have heard from Mr. Ghazi just now, you just read the whole life story, academic in my academic career. But okay, thank you for having such a long introduction. But there are many other people around who are excellent in research and perhaps can guide you. But since Mr. Zahrul asked me personally to share with you perhaps more of my experience in research and how to strategize research, that is why, okay, I say, let's do this. Okay, so hopefully my sharing today will benefit all of you in research particularly. So um, the topic that I'm going to share today is, as you know, on how to strategize research output. Many of the times when we do research, what we think about from the beginning to the end, always about output, always about output, because when you do research, that's what you want. You want the output. It doesn't matter what are your methodologies, what are your problem statements, and at the end of the day, we want output. So this is what I'm going to share my experience having various diverse backgrounds of students under my research team, and let's make this session more like two-way communication. Perhaps if you want to ask me anything, please do so, and don't be shy to ask me anything that you want. Right, I just introduced my university for those who are not in Malaysia. This is my university. Currently, I'm working at the university in a university at the heart of, I would say, a strategic location. Is close to Kuala Lumpur International Airport. University Putra Malaysia actually has the root of agriculture. So we are very much agriculture at heart. And later on, grow it grows, and the faculties are growing, and there are many faculties now in our university, and UPM is one of the 5 research universities in Malaysia. So we are very much research-based university, research-intense university, even in our teaching and learning activities. So there are 2 schools, School of Graduate Studies in Business and Economics, and also 15 faculties, including Faculty of Engineering. In Faculty of Engineering alone, we have 8 departments, and one of the department is my department, which is the Computer and Communication Systems Engineering. And we have like mechanical, chemical, all the basic engineering, as well as other minor branch engineering field. So these are the institutes that are available in UPM. Perhaps if you are doing masters now, and maybe you would consider UPM as one of your university of choice to study, to further your studies. And at a glance, UPM is huge in terms of, I mean, we have wide lands, big lands. We are talking about 3,000 hectares in the main campus, and moreover, very close to 2,000 academic staffs. We have quite a lot of postgraduate students, yeah, 28,000 from 80 countries. So it's huge. It's a huge university. And you can see there more than 3,000 total hectares. And we have forests, our own forest area, um, and also vegetation area. Right. This is me. This is me at a glance. Mr. Chairman just now, Mr. Ghazi has I just summarized this. Actually, I graduated from the University of Huddersfield, UK, in electronics and information engineering. So my background is in engineering. I did my master's in Birmingham, UK, in communication and human-centered systems. This is more like combination of communications, telecommunications with computer. And also I did my PhD at the same university, University of Birmingham in UK, in communication engineering. So you can see that I spent a long time. I did my PhD and my master's degree, and also my electronics engineering degree, PhD at the United Kingdom. But I choose to come back to Malaysia to contribute to Malaysia. My field of specialization is wireless communication. Perhaps maybe some of you in the same area, do feel free to reach out. In Internet of Things, and also other than engineering, I also do digital education or higher education per se, because I've been involved in a lot of education and academic matters at the university and also at the ministry level. And this is more recent achievements. I'm glad that I'm very honored to be awarded the top research scientist in Malaysia in 2022 and others. And I was the deputy dean of academic during COVID-19 times. It was challenging back then. And as you know, as mentioned by Mr. Chairman just now, I was the head of department. So this is where I work. I do my research here, Research Center of Excellence in Wireless and Photonics Networks. So what we have in wireless and photonics, we do research in electronics, sensors technology, photonics engineering, signal processing, wireless communication and network, embedded systems. I do a lot of materials, research as well, and also communication network. Right. Enough of introduction there. You see, when of course, I'm sure you have asked these questions when it comes to research. What do I need to consider? This is one of the starting questions. I would say, what do I need to study? What do I need to look into? What is the scope of my research? And if you are a researcher, you are an academician, perhaps you have asked questions like, who will do what? Which students would do what? If you are in a team, a research team, of course you ask, who will do this? Who will do that? So these questions might run once in a while, at least when you do research. And cost or resources for you to do research, and perhaps that what we would like to emphasize today is on how to maximize the output. You have the team, you have the resource, you know what you want to do, and perhaps how do you publish more. If you are postgraduate students, if you are PhD or master by research students, publications will be the the key output other than thesis that you want to consider. I like this saying that a goal without a plan is just a wish. So in my entire career as an academician, not just an academician, but also I was students before like you. So a goal, we must have a plan. We must have a goal, but we must also have plan. Otherwise, it would just become a wish. So we don't want just wish. We want it to be a reality. So that is why a plan is important. That is why I bring this topic. It has to be strategized. Your research, your publication, whatever you want to do, it has to be planned. And in how are we planning that? Um, in a way that you want to have a good research, a good foundation for research, you have to understand your research, what you are doing. I've seen most times that students, PhD students, have failed to identify what are they researching, the nature of research, at least in the first year. Students were struggling. Most of the students are struggling in the first year just to define the nature of the research. What are you going to do? Are you going to do research on idea or concept or prototype? Or you are looking into behavioral studies like in social science studies? Are you challenging theories or hypotheses? What's your hypothesis? You need to know this in the beginning. What methods you have to use? Is going to be improvement of existing products or prototypes, or at the end of the day you have your own prototypes. So the nature of research will determine the nature of the output. Okay, in general, if you don't know the nature of your research, what you can come up at the end of the day, then you would have trouble. You have the wrong goal. You may have the right plan, but you have the wrong goal. So we need to start with the goal. What is it? So you need to identify how far your research goes. Okay, some of the research may have combinations of this, combinations of this. So some of the research only on the behavioral side, and perhaps the nature of the output will be different. So let's have a look. What we mean by research output. There are so many research outputs, but we are going to have a look at a number of the common ones, especially when you do PhD study or research studies. Yeah, research can go beyond studies. It can go. I mean, people from industry can also do research. So research output refers to the tangible results. It has to be tangible results and products that emerge from a research process. You cannot come up with research output without doing the research process. So the process has to be undertaken in order for you to come up with research output. Okay. And normally it is representing the scholarly and scientific inquiry. And of course, it can take various forms. We can see maybe a few forms of outputs. And again, as I mentioned just now, it depends on the nature of research. Not all research will produce all outputs. So that's why we need to know the depth of our research, the nature of our research, so that we can plan the output. And it should contribute the body of knowledge, because you have done research output. So that means you have done research process. That means along this process, there must be body of knowledge, and you want to disseminate the body of knowledge to the community and the public, and there it comes the research output. So these are the most common research outputs referring to, different depending on the nature of the research. Um, yes, anybody want to ask question? No. Okay. So the types of research that are commonly, in academic, journal articles. I'm sure you are looking forward to this. Every universities are putting up requirements to graduate that you must have published research articles, journal articles, journals, peer. And this is one of the things that we can do for conferencing, for conference papers, and we would present our findings. Initially, normally people do conference for initial presentations, just to get experience and just to be connected to research networks. So particularly in this is one of the output. Books and book chapters, people overlook this research output. Normally, students are not interested in producing books and books chapters, but rather looking into more into journals. But this can be a good research output, a good contribution, if it is putting, if this is considered to be part of your output. It has to be planned. This is actually a very good research output that people normally overlook. Perhaps it would take more time to produce books and chapters in books. Of course, if you are students, then theses and dissertations would be very, this is your book. This is maybe perhaps from the academician point of view, but this is your book. Thesis and dissertation. This is what you want to produce at the end of your study, in-depth academic documents. And reports. Reports can be for government, for industry, so depends, or maybe consultancy projects. This is one of the research output that can be done. Patents, I would love if my students can produce patents, and they did. So I have quite a number of patents filed. Only one that has been, granted, but we have filed patents, because patents would take years, so it depends here. Actually, it's not just patents. It means here any intellectual property rights. There are other rights than patents, like copyright, trademark, trade secrets, and many other types of IPR that you can actually get as an output. You would have data sets if you do your research process. So data sets are raw or processed data made available for further analysis. So this is also an output. Okay. This can be an output if sometimes you see your results, your data that you collected, are methodologies for methodology, but it can also be an output. Software, if you are concerned, if your project are concerned with producing software or programming codes, okay, codings can also be an output. And this is artistic and creative works are normally for people who are in arts, music, or design projects. So this is a very specific research output for those who are in this category. If you produce a song or whatever, then it is an output. One overlooked output that students would not go into, but depends. Some students are doing policy studies, so this could be one of the research output. But I can share with you there are extensions of output from this, all of this, and the above research outputs to be converted into policy brief. Okay. And of course, if you are in technology fields or engineering like me, then prototype is a must, or a model can be physical or conceptual model. If you are from social science, so perhaps you can produce models. I've seen I've done I was also a collaborator for social science research, because I am one of the associate researcher at the Institute of Social Science Studies in UPM. So I don't just do engineering, but I also do social science. So I can understand how social science work in terms of research. And I can see that many of my colleagues in social science produce models. So what they can do with models is they can upgrade it into a research output, other than having all of these um, outputs. Right. Now let's have a look at how to strategize the outputs. Have anybody of you heard about K-chart? Maybe you can write in the chat box. Anybody? Or if you don't write in the chat box, you can maybe unmute. No, okay. Ali Bazat, you haven't heard about K-chart before. Right. I will introduce to you just a short introduction on using K-chart, because K-chart actually was founded by um, my my I would say my idol, my um, teacher at the faculty. He passed away in I think 5 years back. He passed away. He was the former head of our department, and actually K-chart has been used um, all over the world actually. And it is very useful. Thanks to him, Professor Kazani, the late Professor Kazani. He developed K-chart in 2006. I completed my PhD in 2006, and I came back to UPM to serve UPM, and he was the head of department uh, in 2008, 2 years after I went back to UPM. And he introduced K-chart to us, and we have done some work on K-chart as well, and it proved to be a good tool. So I'm gonna introduce to you K-chart. You can find more information, um, more information in maybe in Google. There are maybe some redundancies in terms of the name K-chart, but if you search for K-chart strategizing research for research, then you would see the right K-chart. Okay. It is a tool for organizing research. Very, very useful too when it comes to putting up the scope of issues under study. Like I mentioned in the beginning, one of the challenges that a PhD student face in the first year is to define the issues that you want to solve in your study, or define the scope of your research. We don't want it to go astray in terms of finding a base to do a concrete research, because sometimes you have too many problem statements, and you are too ambitious and you don't see the whole picture, and your research, at the start point, your research will become haywire because you have too many things. You don't define the scope because you want to do everything. So that is one of the things that we say, scope is very much important when you are doing research. And of course, the methodology, the results, in terms of results, what kind of results that you want. So it give an overview of what the results are. And also in KHI, originally it has timelines. You use Gantt chart, no problem in Gantt chart, but the Gantt chart is normally separated from all of these issues, methodology, results, because normally we do timelines on its own, but we can actually combine timelines with other information in this chart. This is in the form of a tree diagram, so it's quite easy to develop. Okay. General structure of K chart. So this is what the late Professor Kazani developed in 2006. You see here, you can put the title, general scope of study, maybe some general issue, and then sub-issues at the bottom. This is a tree diagram. Everybody knows tree diagram. Everybody are comfortable with having tree diagrams. It's not complicated at all. And under sub-issue, you can have other sub-issues. Okay, and you see the box here on the left and on the right are the alternatives, other things, okay, other than this sub-issue 1. This alternative to sub-issue 2, other things, okay. But you see the root here, the black root, the bold boxes here showing the root of your research. So which one you choose? You have many options here. So, but which one do you choose? In terms of methodology, there are many methodology that you can do, but maybe you choose this one. So it shows options as well, not just your study, but it shows the bigger picture. And this is, performance parameter. What are the parameters that you want to study? What are the design parameters that is under the performance parameter? I will show you an example, a real life example on how we use K-chart. So this is another picture here showing a more elaborative structure of K-chart. The first layer is on the general topic or the systemic part, where you identify the issues. Remember, we want to define scope. We want to define the issues. Maybe there are sub-issues 1, sub-issues 2, type 1, type 2, type 3, but which one do you study? Same thing, you have sub-issues here or subsystems element. You can add the layers, more layers if you want to. So you can put another sub-issues, and this is what we say scope. The top layer is scope, and the methodology. Methodology can be theoretical, experimental, simulation, survey, whatever strategies that you want to use in your research. And you have to explore other strategies and list it here. But you don't have to use all, but at least when the examiners or readers see your thesis, they know that you have already considered other methods, but you choose this method. And results performance parameters like this can be any parameters that you want to study, okay? And also, what are the design parameters? Normally, design parameters, what are the ones that is contributing to the performance parameters, affecting the performance parameters, okay? The design parameters are the ones that is factors, or say factors, for example, factors that affecting this one, the performance. So this is a general structure of K-chart. It combines scope, methods, and results. But actually, you can have a look in the original K-chart. They have timeline down here. saying that DP, say design parameter 1 can be completed in 2 months, and this is in 3 months, and so on. And in the original, you can search later on. I don't show timeline here. This is one example. If you, this is from a journal actually, that this is a Japanese journal that use K-chart for his review paper, review article. So how a systematic review article can be, can be utilized in such a way that it shows the overview of whatever you want to review. For example, the system layer, this is on emotion detection, how to detect emotion. This is system layer, means the whole, the big picture. If I am going to put it as general as I can be, I can put it wireless communication in the top layer, in the area that I want to work on. So this guy is working on emotion detection, and in methodology layer, there are many methodology that can be adopted, because he used K-chart to review the methodology used for emotion detection. So this is EEG and a number of methodologies that can be used to detect emotion, and machine learning, deep learning. So you can see here, there are many ways to detect emotion, and there are many ways to be used as classifiers in machine learning, artificial intelligence methodology. You can see differences between this methodology, and you can see also uh, other maybe methods, that maybe questionnaire, survey, and so on. And this could be application layer. Where are these going to be applied? So the yellow ones show that maybe the highest, the development of future research opportunities, they are indicated by sections in a yellow background. Knowing all these alternatives in a bigger picture, and you define which one that you want to go. And in this case, in this review article, he creatively create a K-chart to show, to demonstrate what are the research gaps or research areas, research part that can be done in the future. For example, you take here, if it's physiological data type, so these two are the least maybe explored area, and these are the least explored area that can be, we can do more research on it, and also on this part. So again, this is a very good strategizing tool that you can actually apply. I'm going to show you my slide. I'm not moving. It's not moving. You just start there. Okay. Okay, now this is what my students did. Oh, it's a bit small, isn't it? Oh, can you see? I hope you can see. I'm not sure how to make it bigger, because it cannot be made bigger, because this is an A4 from my students' thesis actually. So what we do in our research group, my students would have, this is not compulsory, but this is required. Not compulsory, but required. Means that they have to identify using K-charts what are the alternatives or options, and they can do publication planning. For example, here, it's quite small here. It says wireless communication system up there in the system level. And then it goes down to 5th generation or 6th generation. So my student, this one particular student has graduated recently, and she would like to do 6th generation, 6G. You have heard about 5G, so we are doing 6G now. This is like various layers that you can put like mm, I'm not sure if you can understand this, but you can see that she defined under sixth generation what she want to focus on, which is the colors here and alternatives here using design methodology, helical antennas, not other types. So this is scoping, a good scoping, specifications, producing specifications, and all other design parameters, performance parameters, application layer, what application that can be used. So how we do this how we utilize K-chart to produce, to identify points or milestones that we can publish is that if she comes to this stage, you see, I highlighted here, if she comes to this stage, she can actually produce a review article on design requirements. There is no available ready-made specifications on how to create 5G requirements for antenna. Specifications. If you want to design an antenna for 6G communication, there is no available ready-made specifications that we can refer. So that's why she combines all the information and trying to produce a review article and put it together so that those who are in this area can refer to the design requirements. And she needs these design requirements to produce her own prototype. So here we define the requirements. So we get the first journal. And then we see that once we get the initial results that shows potential for the prototype, we produce conference and also second journal. This is here is Q2 and here is one journal. International conference. You see what is the effect of bandwidth, for example, with the effect of other things, or you want correlating this, what the other parameters change. Conference paper and also I got disconnected. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, Prof.
Oh, hang on. Let me hang on. I will reshare. Okay. I
Okay.
think because the internet is is not doing well here. So where did is it here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So from this correlation of parameters that we can plan for another paper, which is on the third journal and also international conference. And finally, the final journal is on the best results that we get, the final results. And also we get a patent. We get a patent file, okay? For patent granted, as I mentioned just now, it's going to take time, years. But at least you can see here how we plan our publication by having, actually there are more can be done, more of the results can be published. I can correlate with one more parameters with maybe on the angle of different applications, so I can produce another paper. So you can use K-chart in such a way, you can identify areas that you can produce papers. And if you are an academician, you can identify one student going through this route and one student going to the other routes. So in terms of strategizing who do what research, if you have more than one students, you can let them work together, but on different angle, so different focus. So maybe both of them are doing 6G, but using different method, different style. So you can plan that as academician as well. But of course, when you are PhD students or even academician, the most that you think of in terms of output, normally conference article, conference papers, journal article, and also maybe patent. But there are, as I mentioned just now, there are many other types of output that you can actually go, and you have to foresee how far your research can go in terms of the depth of your research. In order for you to foresee the outputs, you need to plan the outputs other than just three common outputs that we see just now: journal, conference, patent. You can go far other than that. And you do not wait. Do not wait to strike till the iron is hot, but make it hot by striking. That means you have to be proactive in order for you to maximize the output, not just the three outputs type. You can maximize. So how to do that? In order to maximize your research output, you need to know, you need to be able to measure the level of your research. How, you know, what would be the best tool to measure that? Why I say measure your level of research? Because you want to maximize, right? Otherwise, we just keep it to these three. Measure your level of research by technology readiness levels. This is, I'm quite sure if you are in academia, you would know this technology readiness level. If you haven't heard about it, please find out about it. I think this is very useful to see the milestones in terms of the project that we do. It's a method of a technology during its acquisition phase, and TRLs allow researchers to have consistent reference of understanding technology evolution, regardless of their technical background. Don't look at this as technology, science, and technology per se, but look at this as, if you are also in social science research, in terms of, you know, the growth of your project. So normally, this is very general technology readiness from 1 to 9. If you do research, normally research in these three stages, TRL1 to TRL3, where basic principles observed, technology concept formulation, and also experimental proof of concept. Normally, this is research-based. Okay, but we can actually prolong it further to the development, especially in my area, in engineering. We need to do validation in laboratory. We have to produce a prototype, for example, and technology validated in relevant environment. There are, you know, many projects that have been taken out to be tested in relevant, the actual relevant environment, and demonstrated in relevant environment. That means it is used in relevant environment, and producing an you know, closer to commercialized prototype, and system complete and qualified, and then you can produce the prototype for operational environment. That means real environment. So what are these technology in readiness in detail? You can see here the level indicator. Level 1, basic principles observed, where you do scientific observations. paper-based studies or technologies basic properties. You want to see, this is where you do some review papers. For example, you want to find research gaps and so on. You want to find scientific basis for your research. Then you do this step. If your project in this level, then it is basic level. Okay. Technology concept formulated, you envision the application at this stage. You do some analytical studies, but not in depth. You just have ideas and where this can be implemented. So you do some analytical studies. So that is the level. Experimental proof of concept. If your project is reaching this level 3, it is still in research phase. Studies in laboratory measurements to validate analytical predictions. Validated in lab, you produce lab prototype. Validated in relevant environment, semi-integrated model, for example, in a simulated environment, you produce a test bed, for example. You create, simulate environments, not the actual one yet. Relevant environment, still simulated, but if you reach verification of your model or prototype in operational environment, then you reach quite a high level, technology readiness level 7. Okay, this is results level. This is development level. This is product level. System complete and qualified is functioning well in the operational environment and can be implemented directly. So you have reached where we would say in Malaysia, this is the highest TRL readiness and it is ready for commercialization at this stage. You need to know, you at least have an indication where your technology readiness level are for your project, so that you would be able to predict or plan for maximizing the research output. So this is what I do when it comes to knowing your technology readiness and map it with the output that you want. You want to maximize, right? You want to have maximum output. So that's why at each and every level, you can try to map the output, suitable outputs. But again, of course, you have to see the nature of your project, the nature of your research in the beginning. I mentioned to you the nature of your research, then it could vary from one project to the other project. This is an example only, but you need to work it, on your own. So if you are in level 1, readiness 1, you're studying, you're observing, you are finding research gaps. So you can actually, if you are at this stage, you can provide review paper. You can easily write review paper. I think one of the ways to get high citation is to produce review paper, but be careful with review paper because so many people want to do review paper because you don't have to go through the research process yet. What you need to do is systematically review other people's work and put it together and re-represent it in a manner that people can understand and utilize your reviews. So it would need you would need a skill, representing skill, communicating skill in terms of writing review paper. It's not as easy as you think. And of course, conference papers at this stage, we have some, studies, some principles. Some people want to produce books because books does not need to be very specific on research. It can be on chapters, simple chapters. And of course, you can have PhD students, master students, final year project students doing thesis and dissertation. So if you're academician, you would want to strategize it in this way. If you're starting fundamental research, then you would have this output in the beginning. Then if you go to conceptual design, you can produce journal articles and also conference papers. I've shown you just now how And as somebody was talking, I hope you don't forget to mute. Okay. Otherwise, I thought you want to ask question. Okay, journal articles and conference papers can be produced if you plan it well, using K chart, but you map it to the level of your readiness. But normally conference would be a good start if you are at these early stages, 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. In stage number 3, you have preliminary design. That means the first result that you get from your experiment, for example, or your study, for example. It's not a perfect result, but it is results. For example, you get data sets, you get some, software or model that you can use. Don't be afraid to publish it, even though it has, it's not that perfect. Sometimes people wait until the end to get a perfect result to publish or to produce outputs. But these outputs can be, can be patented, copyrighted, and so on. Software can in level 3 and 4. Level 5 on lab prototypes, if you are doing engineering, of course you need to do this. And you can actually produce, if you do experimental design, you can actually produce journal articles in measurement methodology, how you conduct your measurement. Perhaps other people would benefit from how you conduct your measurement. Maybe some novelties are there in terms of the experimental setup, so there could be some findings that you want to write, expand. Can be measurement reports if you do software, and also, of course, we can place PhD students doing 1 to 5, level 1 to 5, and we can produce thesis and dissertation at this stage. Number 6 is more on commercial prototype, and of course, at this stage, you would have patents. You want to protect your ideas or your work. And if I am the examiner of PhD thesis, patent is not required, but it will show the potential to be commercialized. So it will show good reputation for for the actual environment. You can create policy reports, give it to the government, producing policy changing in the government or something, um, based on actual measurements, for example. Thesis, journal articles on actual environment testing. This is very interesting, you see. When we do testing at the actual environment, it itself is a novel, it has some novel um, or new knowledge formation at this stage, you know, because some stop here only at lab prototype 5, level 5. But if you can go further and take your whatever your model or prototypes or whatever it is, and try in actual environment testing with, collaborations with industry, with community, for example, then this would be good to report on journal article. And if you reach 8 and 9, of course, at the end of the day, what you want to have is the licensing or commercial agreement. This is, not all research can achieve this stage, but all research should have a goal to reach this stage. It doesn't matter whether you are in science and technology or social science studies, then you have to have this in mind. Level 9, you have to have, because at the end of the day, this is, it should not stop here. It should not stop at thesis and dissertation. It should go all the way so that you can maximize the output. Okay, this is my advice. And one thing that we of always focus is on dissemination of the outputs. Means, of course, in your studies you want to produce publications, but before you you think about publications, there are other things that you might want to consider from this research. What are the dissemination plan? Because remember, research output includes, we have seen the definition just now. In the beginning, we have seen the definition of research output that should include dissemination to dissemination of your outputs to other people, okay, other parties. So this dissemination plan, for example, you have research results that you want to publish or share, disseminate or share in terms of publication, or you can give your data set, depositing research data, for example. You can share your research data for other people to use. You might want to consider gold open access or green open access journals, okay, publishers. And if you want to deposit your research data, it can be open access and free of charge. You can do this. This is your contribution. Or you can have restricted access for some people to use. That means they have to get your permission to use your research data. And in the meantime, you can also look, if you want to protect your idea or your work, you want to go for patenting or other form of protection. Like I mentioned, it can be trademark, it can be copyrights, trade secrets. You protect it first before you go to publication. You can, I think, for within 1 year after you make it public, your work public, then only within 1 year that you can do patents or get protection, copyright or anything within 1 year. But if it is already in public domain for more than 1 year, you can't do this process. So at some point, maybe you want to decide if your project has to be protected for some reason. Then you do this process first, and then you think about publications next. But of course, it will take some time. Okay, so what are some people are asking me previously on what are the difference between gold open access and green open access. So you can see, you can also of your article or version of record permanently and freely available online for everyone. This is normally comes with article publishing charge, okay, and so on. You can read here. But for green open access, you can actually publish in green open access as well. That means you can post an earlier version of your manuscript in repositories and online. Normally you don't have to pay for your article processing charge, but this is quite a low level, not to say low level, but normally in academic degree we don't see this very much. We would see the final published version, but people do this a lot, maybe Taylors and Francis. And at the end of the day, consider this, of course, effective time management, do collaboration with other people. You must have clear research objective, good communication, networking, improve your writing skills. Yeah, you can use technology, leveraging tools, but you don't use ChatGPT too much. If you want to use ChatGPT, you use it to get ideas, but you write on your own. Strategy, open science. Open science, of course, you need to pay sometimes for open access. Of course, and work-life balance. So before I end this, I would like to just briefly, introduce to you what I do in my research. In electronic and microwave research, we do this. Wireless communication, sensors, Internet of Things, materials, drones, RFID. So anybody, wearable technology. If you are in this area, do come and collaborate and contact, or if you want to come to UPM, just give me a shout. So thank you very much. I think that's it. Maybe I can take one or two questions if you like. All right, over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I think if you have any question, we can arise.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am, for your nice presentation. Could I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I am a researcher on forestry sector. Okay, so I have a question that is, if I get my research output, then how could actually I turn it to the technology? That means it's a forestry sector. So that means if it actually possible to turn it to a technology, that means if I just give an example, that means when I research in tectona plantation, I just find a good output, that is how what the cultivation method. Okay, just take it as an example. So just find the cultivation technique, a great example of my findings. So how could actually I just turn it to a technology? Is it possible or not? Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Is it Masood?
Yes, yes. Jai
Masood.
Masud.
Okay. Thank you,
Masood.
Masood, for the question. Let's have a look at research outputs. Typical research output here. I mean, turning your knowledge, body of knowledge, into a tangible output. How are you going to do that? To do this, I think it is a good question in a way that people ask me a lot on this, especially those who are not engineering, because in engineering it's easy to produce technology. But what you can transform is that if you say cultivation, for example, you can create something like this. I would say, uh, I've seen people create models or um, uh, techniques, techniques that can be patented, techniques that can be copyrighted. So other than, if whoever wants to use your techniques, they would have to refer to you, and it will become, it can be a module for training. One one of the easiest way to transform this into a tangible output or tangible, things that you can hold on to, is to transform it into a training module. Okay, so based on the knowledge that you have gained, a good knowledge, you want to transform it into a training module that you can actually commercialize. So at the end of the day, you have that tangible output. You can patent it, you can copyright it. So if that way, then you can use the technology readiness level, saying that you can do commercialization in terms of training. But of course, if you want to have machinery involved, for example, producing machines to do cultivation and so on, then you have to work in multidisciplinary project. From the body of knowledge that you get, what you learn from your research, you want to transform it into technology. You have to identify who are the users, end users, who are the stakeholders, and from there you work with other people, maybe not in your area, maybe in engineering or technology area, people from multidisciplinary areas, to come up with a prototype or a technology that you can apply to, other people can use it. Okay, don't let it. That's why I give you this technology readiness level. If you are doing at this stage proof of concept, okay, or even basic principles, this is fundamental research, you want to go up the ladder. Yeah, you have to create that technology, but you need to work with other people. You can't work on your own. You can't just leave it at this research level. It has to be developed and deployed. So having deployed the technology, before deploying the technology at this stage between research and development, you will need to identify who are the users. So that's why I said every project should mind every project so that you can extend your whatever findings that you do for your studies to be reason why we do research, right? We want people to use it. So you need to, okay, Masood?
Yeah, thank you. A lot of thanks.
Okay.
Abbas, another person raising your hand, Abbas.
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
Yeah,
hello everyone.
yes.
Hi, is it Abbas?
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Alyani Ismail, for your wonderful presentation. So as for me, I would just like you to share more light and advices from your mentorship to students, specifically graduate students you have taught and you have mentored during your academia. So what advices will you give graduate students towards publishing in high impact journals and developing an idea that leads to having a patent? And sorry to introduce myself, I'm Abbas Adam Abdullahi, a graduate student at King Fahd University of Petroleum and Mineral Resources here in Saudi Arabia. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Abbas. Well, different supervisors has different style. Um, I mean, most people would supervise other people based on how they are being supervised before. But for me, I think the it has to be for students to have confidence level in publishing should come from the supervisor, because in my research team, my students, this is my own experience, maybe other people might have other experience, they are not confident reaching the milestone. For example, I show you my slides again. This is what I say, it has to be planned in terms of application using KChat. Why is it not moving? Okay, I'm going to show you this again. This is what we developed together. Okay, this key chart we developed together. Where are the be able to publish? Students being students, they thought that okay, this is not good enough. This is not good enough. Uh, are you sure this can be published? Where do I publish? Something like that. So there are many worries in students. I'm sure you reach this stage. So many worries in students that makes them scared to publish. And there are other students also who are too overconfident in publishing. So we have very diverse students. But at the end of the day, what my advice would be, do planning. Don't just okay wait until I think I'm ready to publish, then publish. No, it has to be planned. You reach this stage, you publish. You reach this stage, you publish, even though you think that the results are not good. And when they want to send for publications, normally they would send the lowest rank journal, Q lower Q journals, Q3, Q4, or even just Scopus. Uh, in engineering, normally we go for the one that has quartiles Q4 and above. We do that will bring high value to the publication. So my advice to my students, why? Because even though you think that you will be rejected, but what is the most important is that you get the reviews, you get the review comments. This is the most precious thing that we want to get. So not putting, of course, if it's rejected, if the paper is rejected, of course the students will feel very sad, but I say at the end of the day, what don't put too high hopes, but you work for the best. But we want to get the review paper that we can do. And some of the papers that we submitted to Q1, it was accepted. So even though we think that okay, we could have done better, but it got accepted. with corrections. So we do the corrections. So if you send it to Q4 for the first time, of course you have killed your opportunities for Q1 and Q2 and Q3 journals. High but be brave enough to submit to Q1 or Q2 or the ones that are very, very fast in terms of reviewing, but good journals, not bogus journals, not too expensive, not too predatory journals. So go into that, route and value the reviewers' comments. Don't be offended by reviewers' comments. Reviewers' comments, you should read it positively, in a way to improve your work, a basis that you see in Viva, in PhD Viva, for example, some of this will be raised. So high rank journals.
Thank you, Prof. Some students give the question in chat box using K-chart. Using K-chart to design a framework, will it be part of the thesis report?
Yes.
Another person asked, may K-chart be the part of research or review paper?
Yes. Okay. Both questions, yes. My students, maybe I can show you my students. I would encourage my students to. This is thesis. Let me find. Yes. If you put this in thesis, it will be clearer for the examiners to see the scope. So that is why I encourage my students to put K-chart in. Okay, this is thesis. Okay, this is a thesis on research scope. Okay, under research scope. So you can see all the alternatives and so on, and how deep what have been covered, what have thesis, PhD thesis, yeah, and so on, And you can do this, as I shown you, you can do this also in journal from review. What areas that are, useful, can be explored further.
Thank you, Prof. I think everyone get the answer. Another two person raise hand, but I think I have a time problem. That's why I only ask one person, Tisa Wang. We get the one question from Tisa Wang, then we will try to close. But if emergency, you can do the chat box. You can ask in chat box. Tisa Wang. Tisi Wang.
Tesi Ong.
Tisi Wang, do you?
Yes, madam. Good
Yeah.
evening po. Good evening. You're so great,
Good
madam.
evening.
You look very expert in research. Now, I would like to extract from you, which is actually I am also a research professor. But okay, looking into so many researches, sometimes I just wonder, how data should be presented, because I could see so many approaches. Could you share with me a pattern on how to present the data, the analysis and interpretation of data? Do you have any pattern for that?
Do I have any pattern for?
Pattern to analyze and interpret data? Because I could see so many approaches, which oftentimes cause me confusion. What is really the right approach? Do you have any pattern, madam, to share with us?
Pattern or method, is it? Or pattern, all right.
Or it could be method, or how we are going to present the data in such a manner that it will be very easy and very clear, in terms of presentation for people or readers to analyze. Do you have any pattern in mind?
Pattern. I'm trying to understand. Is it for articles or any presentation?
Madam, what I mean, do you have a way on how data should be analyzed? A simple way.
Oh, simple way.
Yes
Mm,
po. Simple way because I am confused. Seeing so many approaches in different research papers. What is really the
well,
right way to present analysis and interpretation of data? Right way.
okay. There is no one shoes that fits or one sizes that fits all. Huh? It depends on what type of data that you want to present. For example, if you're talking about abundance of data, say survey that we collected from public, for example, there are many ways to represent data, but this is on its own needs to be learned. I would prefer to use different types of tools. Of course, you mentioned just now there are many ways to, to present data, but I find that statistical tools need to be learned. Whether you are in engineering or social science studies, you need to learn about representing data in statistical manner. Okay, I'm gonna show. Maybe I can show one example because if I show my students' thesis here, it's gonna be graphs, a lot of graphs because we use this is maybe uh, okay, one method that I use in social science is to use statistics. You can find mean for your data and analysis. For example, you can see a lot of papers. For example, in review papers nowadays, they are using many statistical methods. You just need to find which one that your data would mean a lot. Okay, people are showing percentages a lot, but percentage is not the only way to show, to demonstrate. If you have a lot of data, you want to demonstrate the data to make it meaningful, you have to analyze it first. So there are many tools. I think you need to learn the tools. We need to find the tools so that I cannot pick up one exact tools that I use because I have used many tools. But in engineering, we have used lots of graphs to represent. For example, I show you my student's thesis, yeah, just now. Okay. So at this part, and we have, this is regularly for literature review, we regularly use tables to represent data, pictures, a lot of pictures. What else? Oh, it's gone. It's slowly coming up, because this is 300, almost 300 pages. But you see, it's not coming up. Okay. This is one of the representation. This is what we produce in one of the papers that we have. So requirements, summary of requirements. This is nothing, this is from papers, from journal papers that we combine it in and we produce this, summary. So you can represent it in a lot of ways actually. Um, we just need to try at least one. Okay, it's the right one for data analysis. There is no.
Okay, thank you again to Professor Dr. Alyani Ismail. Before we go on, let us all take a picture together. Please, everyone, open your camera and we want to finish, inshallah. Everyone ready? On, two, three. Okay. Another one. Just give me time, please. There's so many participants here. Five slides. Sorry for taking time. This one last. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you again to our professor, Dr. Alyani Ismail. We are now moving to the end of our on-day event. Thank you so much to our keynote speaker and participant. With
Thank
that,
you,
I am Ghazi
everyone.
Abu from University of Malaysia, signing out from Strategizing Research Output 2023, organized by Bangladeshi Student Union Malaysia, BSUM,
Thank you, Ma. Thank you,
supervised by
Prof.
the Doctorate
Thank
support.
you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you, our professor again. Thank you, everyone, for participating in this event. Thank you from BSUM.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Thank you for the knowledge shared.
Nice to see you next program, inshallah. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you so much, everyone. We have already posted the registration form. The attendance form will be the same. So if you already registered, that's fine. If you didn't register, please fill up the form. So we will send the recording and the presentation slide to your registered email address. So once again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. It was really a great event. Participated by 30 plus countries participants. So if you fill up the registration form, you can leave the meeting. So we will end the sessions within a few minutes. So thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Thank you very much.